What's guys, some of this? Good evening and thank you for joining me. Welcome to Shiitake News. Sorry for the long delay. I've been currently still in Japan. It's been rough out here. Things have been steady as far as the numbers, but they seem to be getting worse and worse every day. We've had very few deaths. That's the one thing we're kind of lucky about. But the drastic actions that we're taking here in Japan. I don't read. Well, I read all these stories, but I don't think about what I'm gonna say until I actually turn on the mic. So everything I usually blurt out on here is from me. There's no script for it. Is basically what I'm saying. We're going to call it China virus. There's no way we're gonna call it anything else because they've been working the information to make it sound like they are the victims somehow. Now, the people are the victims. I agree. The people are all victims. But the government are poison. They're the reason this has gotten as bad as it has. There's stories about how China's selling to Pakistan masks that don't work, or they're so thin they couldn't even be considered masks. They're like, if a mask was, a mask is a certain thickness to it, but this was sent over like basically tissue paper over your face, that thin, which was basically useless. But they've been selling faulty equipment here and there. I don't have those stories up today because that's something that's been ongoing, and that's something that needs to go into more detail. Today we're going to go over New York and some of the drastic measures they're taking. They're going to start enlisting or bringing in they're going to start bringing in medical professionals. They're going to start something similar to a draft for whoever's in the New York area. And they're trying to assemble an army of paramedics and doctors to combat the virus. They don't have enough room for it. They have an issue keeping people because people are also getting sick. Those who work at the drivers, even police officers are getting sick left and right. One of the drastic measures they're taking is they're actually burying their people in New York City, one of the parks. It's only temporary, but there's so many bodies. The morgues couldn't handle it, so they're coming up with these off-the-cuff ideas of just how to keep the bodies from getting other people sick and keep it sanitary, because the cadavers in itself could also give you a new sickness or cause more issues. So if you want to read that story, I'll put a link here. The government has been lying to their people, saying that it's cleared, it's all good now. And because of that, tourists have started going to the Great Wall of China, and it's absolutely packed. And when I say packed, I mean you have a personal space of like an inch around your body. It's completely packed, and they think it's okay. They think this is that they've conquered it and they've fixed it all, and they did it all without issue. And they're lying. They're lying to their people. They're lying to the other governments. This is just a farce, and it's ridiculous. I have a link to the map down here. But look, this is the map. The U.S. is sitting at 347,000, Spain 135,000, Italy 132,000, Germany, France, and then China at 82,000. Are you kidding me? Why would the country with the most population out of all these countries have such a low number? Oh, because they're so hygienic and they have so much space. They have plenty of room to keep each other from getting sick. Well, that's not true. They're packed to the gills there. They're unsanitary as far as a lot of the establishments aren't really held to a standard of hygiene and keeping it clean and this and that. And for some reason they think they can lie. Anybody who says they stopped it is on the take. There's no other way to put it. If you see someone reporting that they stopped their numbers under 100,000, whoever you're listening to is on the take for China, or they're complete idiots. Absolute idiots. There's no way that is true. And this is a routers or something like. But they provide pretty accurate data based on what they can get their hands off. And this is dog shit. Please forgive my language, but it is. There's no other way to put it. There's no reason. And them sending faulty equipment to Italy by the way, they send shit equipment to Italy, things that didn't work, that don't work, because they can. They're getting inches away from actually calling. This almost feels like a declaration of war, and they're trying to weaken the enemy as much as they can. And we are the enemy to them. But if you think they kept their numbers under 100,000, whoever told you that, anyone, no matter who it is either brainwashed, idiots, or on the take and getting money, and they're not allowed to criticize their great Chinese masters. They're dogs of the government. Not our government, but the Chinese government. Because there's no way that's true. Some of the prisons have had issues now that they're starting to pass away. And, just thinking of the amount of people that are in jail at China, and considering how our jails are now being contaminated and people are getting sick in our prisons, how some of these jail sentences, they started feeling like death sentences because they're going to pass away. I can't say we should release them. I can't even say how much effort we can put towards them, because everyone's in a hard spot. There's no easy answer here. Each state has to take care of their own. And a lot of things that get misconstrued here is that Trump is the last resort. If your government fails, if your mayor, if your senator, if your governor, if all of those fail, well, not the senator, but if the mayor fails and if the governor fails, and then it goes to Trump. If you're asking Trump for help, your state has failed you. There's no other way to put it. If your state is doing well, it's because your people took care of you and they acted quickly. They're not begging like dogs to Trump to help them out. And this is true. That Trump isn't the first line of, if I break my hand, I don't expect him to take care of that. I have my own, ways to get things taken care of. I should never have to ask him for help as far as my health. I should ask my mayor, Senate, the hospital, not the Senate, but the mayor, the hospital, and the governor, and have them take care of it. The reason they're there, there's no other purpose. It's a chain of command. You don't jump all the way up to the top. The top, when he enforces thing, it's going to be heavy-handed because that's all he has left. And it's not that Trump's doing a terrible job. He's doing actually a wonderful job, in my opinion. I think he's been on the ball. He doesn't look like he makes himself as available as he can be. And these idiot reporters just come in there with these snarky little remarks. Garbage. There's no need for them. And I hear Schiff is starting an investigation on Trump for how the reaction was, how the initial reaction was. They have done jack shit since this started. They haven't taken care of a goddamn thing. I'm gonna swear, because I'm pretty fed up. The left, or not the left, but these Democrats, these politicians who get who set aside $25 million to make sure they get paid in the stimulus package. These bastards are trying to find other ways to waste your times. None of it is going to help the response. None of it is going to help you. Abe, bless the man. He's trying his best, but he has a different approach. Not as a leader, but more as a counselor, because he took advice from everyone, and that's why this took so long. I put a link here. Japanese leaders declare state of emergency for the China virus, and it starts off now, but tomorrow he might do a lockdown. He might not. He's suggesting all of these ideas are just suggestions. They're not laws. I put another extreme here. Philippine president is talking about shooting people, and I guess people have been shot because they weren't wearing masks. And he's the complete opposite. He doesn't even demand that you do. He just says, kindly ask you to please refrain from going out and drinking. That all the bars and pubs can please refrain from opening. But they don't have to follow that rule. He can't make a heavy-handed choice. It's not in his culture. Hopefully, the people, heed to that idea and close their shops. But unfortunately, even people like me have to go to work tomorrow because it wasn't stated as a law. It was just stated as suggestions. I see the pachinko shop, which is basically a gambling slot machine, building, and it's packed to the gills daily. There's no need to go gambling right now. Why? I mean, these people have an addiction, and I know it's hard to quit, but during these times, it's one of those moments where you have to make a harsh choice. He will not make a harsh choice. He'll take the advice, and honestly, I think he's worried about the economy, and I know the economy is going to be almost as bad in different ways than the virus. The virus is going to kill people. The economy is going to starve people. And you'll start seeing that actually starting now. So there's a lot of changes coming. He finally made a call, but it wasn't even a hard stance. He's leaving it up to the mayors, to the governors. And Tokyo governor, she said she can't close the train lines. Only Abe can close down the train lines. And I have pictures and videos of the trains just packed. Lately, it's been tampering off, and there's been less and less. But I try to change my routine so I'm not riding on the train when it's absolutely packed. But still, there's quite a few people in there. All it takes is one or two to start getting people infected. It's looking rough. Yeah. Be careful who's lying to you. Check your facts. Use common sense. Do you really think China was able to stop the spread of the virus to 100,000? And the number just stopped counting. Do you think somebody who's making immediate decision, he's doing his best, support him. If something's wrong, pick up the slack and help him out. If your governor, if your senator, or anybody, fucking Shift is opening an Shift is opening up an investigation. I don't know why his people aren't calling him to refrain from wasting money and wasting time. I don't wish any of these people ill, but I hope they take responsibility. They're talking about what was happening in January. Trump started the task force on January 29th. I mean, he was being impeached the day after the travel ban to China. They were calling him a racist. You hate Chinese people. That's why you're closing you're stopping travel from China. But that wasn't the case. Even now, the doctor says that was a good move. That was a great move. That had to be done immediately, and people are going to hate you for it. But in the long run, it's going to save lives. But no, Shift is trying to investigate this. I'll stop rambling for now. Just understand that people are taking drastic measures. My advice to you is, if you have a few masks, don't throw them away once you're done. Go ahead and toss them in a washing machine. Just make sure you wash it like you would white clothing, which is a little bleach and hot water. As hard as the machine can go. And buy things that last a while. I see another issue in the horizon. The first one's the virus. The second one's the economy. The third one, I can see people acting in desperation. And I'm not even talking about individuals or states. I'm talking about countries desperate. That might be coming up next. And I can see it. I can hear the faint drums, pounding away in the distance. But we can only fix these one problem at a time. As of now, state of emergency in Japan. Wish me luck. I'll carry on with my day-to-day, and I'll probably upload some pictures. You guys can take a look at what I see. But it's getting drastic. Take care of yourself. Prepare your whatever necessity. Don't buy more than you need to. Toilet paper starting to come back up out here, and I'm not running to buy as much as I can. If once every 3-4 days, if I really need it, I'll buy one and maybe give one away to somebody who might need it. I know a lot of senior citizens around here who don't get out much, and they don't want to get out, but they need things. So take care of your neighbors, but first take care of yourself. That's it for me today. Thank you very much. Let's get some of this. I wish the news were a little bit lighter, but we'll get through this. Just keep the information going. Keep your ears open, and Watch everybody. Look at all the news you can. お疲れ様です。Have a good night.